Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulunding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gash, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gash Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
Sophie Milk ñu ngi fété juroom benn ati cafka bu dut dañ ñoo leen indil Jalika full cream milk powder neex saf sàpp te bari cafka pour di leen jërëjëfati si ni ngeen defee Sophie Milk seen favorite milk brand léegi mun ngeen a jëfandikoo empty Jalika milk sachets wala carton pour gagner ay xéewal yu riche. Pour gagner motorbike dajaleel fukk ak juróomi empty carton yi Jalika milk pour gagner yeneen xéewal yu mel ni PlayStation 4, TV, fridge freezer, gas cooker, bicycle wala mobile phone. dajaleel fukk ak juróomi empty Jalika milk sachets def leen si biir enveloppe binda si sa tur ak sa téléphone number. mun ngeen ko yóbbu si bépp Jalika milk agent bu leen gën a jege. pour xam bi si raful yi dem leen Jalika milk Facebook page. Jalika milk mooy meew bu ees bu leen so fi indil gën a neex saf sàpp te riche.
TAF Africa Global is the first and biggest private estate developer in the Gambia and present in 7 other African countries. We take pride in leading innovation in all spheres of real estate sector in the Gambia and beyond. As such, we are launching the development of the first smart and modern office and retail towers in the Gambia called TAF Twins. The TAF Twins is located in the heart of the Kanifing institutional area and 10 minutes drive away from Banjul. TAF Twins is designed to have 5 floors of office spaces ranging from 50 square meters to over 1,000 square meters with 2 elevators, central air conditioning, 24 hours electricity and water supply, with the ground floor reserved for banking, supermarket, restaurant and coffee shop. For your bookings and reservations, please call now on 376-2333 or 776-2333. Thank you.
It's one reception to our studio here in Sarakunda. This is Star TV News with me, Maimuna Fadera. First, the headlines tonight. World Bank country director visits Gambia. Peace ambassadors Gambia updates voter registration. Sport Ministry reveals 105 million was spent on the national team. On the international scene, Ethiopia-Sudan border dispute, attacks increase in Al-Fashara. Libya government hopeful mercenaries will withdraw within days. Market air raids kill dozens in Ethiopia's Tigray, says witnesses. Well, those were the headlines. So now the news in detail. The World Bank Regional Director for Gambia, Senegal, Guinea and Cape Verde, Nathan Bilade, was in Banjul yesterday. During his visit, he visited the Ndemban Clinic in Bakau to ascertain the work put in place to refurbish and maintain the upkeep of the clinic. The World Bank is one of the key financial institutions bankrolling the refurbishment of the clinic. Binta Kuli tells us more.
After his tour of the facility, The World Bank official Nathan Blade told reporters that he was impressed with the work he saw at the clinic. He said he is pleased that the private sector played a vital role in the refurbishment of the place to see that it can be a standard one in Africa.
But it's even more encouraging when we have private sector participate directly, and it's a sign and testament of the commitment, particularly of the local businesses here, to invest in the safety, protection of their own citizens. So it's an honor for us to have been involved in it.
He added that the World Bank has supported the government of the Gambia in many ways, especially when the COVID-19 pandemic started, by giving $290 million to assist the government. He revealed some of the World Bank's future plans for the country.
We were able to do multiple additional financings during the year, one of which is, of course, the financing for vaccine acquisition, and which we intend to be able to support the government to vaccinate approximately 60% of the population, if I'm not mistaken, once, of course, the vaccines become available in the international market. And then through an essential health services program.
The World Bank director assured that they will do everything in their capacity to see that a majority of Gambians get the much needed medicine and will be vaccinated against the global pandemic. Dr. Abubakar Jain, who led the tour of the facility, thanked the World Bank and other partners for helping to refurbish the clinic into a standard one. The UN country representative, Aissata Day, and other dignitaries attended the event. For Star TV News, I am Binta Kuli.
Peace Ambassadors Gambia share its findings today on the second phase of its observation of the voter registration process based on the 158 reports received from its 59 trained and accredited observers located in all 53 constituencies. Awasani reports.
Boubacar Sambu, president of Peace Ambassador Gambia, stated that the overall reports from park observers from all 53 constituencies show that the registration process continues to progress across the entire country and that registration officials are following some of the registration procedures. According to him, park reports indicate that the IEC has improved in some aspects of its operations, resulting in fewer instances of malfunctioning equipment as compared to the first week of the registration exercise.
Security personnel and political party agents continue to be deployed across the country to observe the process. Nevertheless, as was noted in Peace Ambassador's findings during the first week of observation, registration staff appear to be inconsistently applying some of the registration procedures in some centers, and enforcement of COVID-19 safety protocols remain relaxed.
Sambo, however, noted that while most registration centers are opening on time, Peace Ambassadors Gambia observers also noted that some registration officials are reporting to registration centers late and closing earlier than the stipulated time. He called upon the IEC to employ measures to ensure that registration authorities keep registration centers open until 5 p.m. and allow applicants still in the queue the opportunity to register.
Observers across the country, including 6 regional coordinators, 1 per region, with Banjul and KM combined having 1 coordinator, and 53 constituency observers, 1 per constituency. Peace Ambassadors has deployed its observers in every constituency using 2 deployment methodologies, stationary and mobile observers. All 53 constituency observers were deployed as stationary observers for a total of 9 days, as 9 assigned days throughout the registration period from 29 May to 11 July 2021, while all the 6 regional coordinators were deployed to observe on every day.
PAC's president continues that his organization was able to rapidly collect, verify and analyze data on the voter registration process by having its observers report in real time, by sending reports using coded message via their mobile phones. All reports are processed at PAC's National Information Center using a specifically designed elections database. The conference was punctuated with words of encouragement from Park's program officer for eligible Gambians who have not yet registered to register and vote for the upcoming election, as their vote is their voice. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Awasane.
The Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari Baji, has revealed that an amount of $105 million was spent on the national team alone from September 2020 on the road to the AFCON qualification to date. More in this report by Zaglin Koli.
Honorable Baji said the government has been investing a huge amount of resources into the national team, like providing them with chartered flights throughout their journey of the AFCON qualifiers, all for their comfort in order to qualify for the AFCON in Cameroon. He added that this current team is the most motivated in terms of investing resources that they need.
To say that the motivation is not there, I don't think that's accurate, because previous teams can complain probably about not being motivated enough, but this current team, we believe that, of course, we wouldn't say they have everything they need, but almost all the things that we have been negotiating in the past, then with JFF and JFF communicate to us, we, as a government, try to provide the resources, and that includes training camps. Last year, they had a training camp in Portugal, fully funded by government at the tune of 10 million. Recently, they are traveling in chartered flights from Brussels to Banjul, and then when they went to Gabon, and then their last game in March, again from Brussels to Banjul, took them to DRC, brought them back here, and took them to Brussels.
Minister Baji said the $105 million spent on the Scorpions alone is unprecedented, because his administration have spent more resources on football alone than any other administration.
In September of 2020 to recent, we have spent a total of $105 million of government money on the team, just the national team, not even the other teams, just the Scorpions. A total of $105 million was spent in the qualifying campaigns, like I said, in the last 1 year. So that is unprecedented. And that's why in the State House I said we have spent more than any other past times in terms of football alone. And we have right to say that, because that amount, spending that within a period of 1 year, we are not going to claim that as the reason why they qualified. They did extremely well, the JFF did extremely well, but the provisions that is what is provided to them also contributes towards them being comfortable and qualifying the Gambia.
The minister also clarified rumors that some match bonuses of the matches played against Togo and Niger were not paid to the Scorpions. He argued that the GFF and the government do not owe them any balance.
Ministry and the GFF did not owe the boys any of these games. All the games that they've played, as far as we are concerned, those monies have been paid, transferred from government to GFF, and they pay them in full in all the games. So we don't owe the players anything, we don't owe them allowances, we don't owe them their rightful privileges or implied contractual arrangements that they have between themselves and the GFF.
This development came after the national team players boycotted a planned presentation of the AFCON qualification reward from the President Adama Barrow at the State House in Banjul City. The money, amounting to $11.1 million, was instead presented to the team manager, who turned up without the players on Monday afternoon. The players complained in a letter that the money rewarded to them was rather too small. Jacqueline Coley for Star TV News.
Well, those were the local stories. We'll be back with international news after the short break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gosh, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulanding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gosh, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gosh Group also provides the best security company, Gosh Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gosh Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gosh on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gosh Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.global.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding. Gosh.
Sophie Milk ñu ngi fété juróom benn ati cafka bu dut dañ ñoo leen indil Jalika full cream milk powder neex saf sàpp te bari cafka pour di leen jërëjëfati si ni ngeen defee Sophie Milk seen favorite milk brand léegi mun ngeen a jëfandikoo empty Jalika milk sachets wala carton pour gagner ay xéewal yu riche pour gagner motorbike dajaleel fukk ak juróomi empty carton yi Jalika milk pour gagner yeneen xéewal yu mel ni PlayStation 4 TV fridge freezer, gas cooker, bicycle wala mobile phone dajaleel fukk ak juróomi empty Jalika milk sachets def leen si biir enveloppe binda si sa tur ak sa téléphone number mun ngeen koo yóbbu si bépp Jalika milk agent bu leen gën a jege pour xam bi si raful yi dem leen Jalika milk Facebook page Jalika milk mooy meew bu ees bu leen so fi indil gën a neex saf sàpp te riche.
CAF Africa Global is the first and biggest private estate developer in the Gambia and present in 7 other African countries. We take pride in leading innovation in all spheres of real estate sector in the Gambia and beyond. As such, we are launching the development of the first smart and modern office and retail towers in the Gambia called TAF Twins. The TAF Twins is located in the heart of the Kanifing institutional area and 10 minutes drive away from Banjul. TAF Twins is designed to have 5 floors of office spaces ranging from 50 square meters to over 1,000 square meters with 2 elevators, central air conditioning, 24 hours electricity and water supply with the ground floor reserved for banking, supermarket, restaurant and coffee shop. For your bookings and reservations, please call now on 376-2333 or 776-2333. Thank you.
Alpha Shaga is a 3,000 kilometer square, 1.58 square mile fertile region claimed by both Sudan and Ethiopia. In November last year, Sudan's military moved to take over Alpha Shaga, which the government claims under a colonial agreement dating back to 1902. Fighting caused by the dispute has led to the repeated closure of the Calabar border crossing in Ethiopia says border talks will not resume unless Sudan's army retreats. Al Jazeera's Heba Morgan reports from Calabar on the Sudan-Ethiopia border.
For more than 15 years, selling wood has been Ahmed Dafeir's source of income. He gets it from the forests in Galabat in Sudan's Gadaref state near the eastern border with Ethiopia. But he says fighting near the border in recent months has affected his livelihood.
I and 2 others who were farmers were abducted by Ethiopian militiamen who've crossed the border. They demanded ransom from the village residents. While they held us, they kept saying that it is because of the border dispute between Sudan and Ethiopia that they're launching attacks. To make us move far from the border, the ransom was paid, and now I don't venture far out for fear of my safety.
Ahmed's village is one of several in Gadaref that lie along the border area. It's also an area where Ethiopians don't need paperwork to cross and come to trade and earn a living. But the ease of movement here has led to fear. Dozens of people here have reported being abducted by Ethiopian militias for ransom since the start of the year. Part of the reason for the instability along the Sudan-Ethiopia border is a lack of clearly defined boundaries in most areas. This issue has led to not only the abduction and killings of civilians in border villages, but also fighting between the 2 sides in the past months. In November last year, Sudan's military moved to take over a fertile 3,000 square kilometer area in the state known as Alpha Shaga that Sudan claims under a colonial agreement dating back to 1902. But ethnic Amhara farmers from Ethiopia say they've been farming it for nearly 50 years and it belongs to them. The dispute has resulted in the loss of lives on both sides as talks to demarcate the border stalled. Sudan's army says it's working to keep civilians safe.
Our forces are spread throughout the eastern region and are capable of protecting civilians. There are safe zones we've marked for civilians to be in and to farm in and continue with their livelihoods, but the areas that are danger zones should be avoided to avoid abductions by raiders from the other side.
Ethiopia says border talks won't resume unless Sudan's army retreats from Alpha Shaga. The violence has led to the repeated closure of the official border crossing at Galabad. Those who cross from Ethiopia say that affects their economy as well.
I bring goods to Galabat and take other goods to sell back home. The insecurity affects us citizens because we're just simple people. What happens at a political or military level affects everyone on both sides, but those on top don't experience what we do.
Back in Ahmed's village, he says he hopes the border dispute between Sudan and Ethiopia is resolved soon. If it isn't, he may have to find another way to support his family. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, Galabad, Gadaref State.
Libya's path towards finding lasting peace has received a big boost. The country's foreign minister announced that missionaries could be out of the country within days. She said progress have been made at talks with world leaders in Germany, but that it was time for action. The expected departure of the missionaries is part of a plan to reduce violence in Libya before national elections in December. Al Jazeera's Adam Brainey reports from Berlin, Germany.
The Berlin conference was marked by promises to help Libya transform into a democratic and stable country.
We have a responsibility, particularly in this moment, to demonstrate that democracies can deliver, to actually see Libya hopefully take a course of security, freedom, independence, backed by the international community.
The conference, co-hosted by Germany and the UN, was a follow-up to the first Libya conference held 18 months ago. With a ceasefire in place, Libya's interim prime minister said the country will hold elections as promised on December 24th.
1.5 years ago, Libya was threatened with collapse. The economy was on the verge of collapse. We saw social tensions and divisions. Today we're in a critical phase, but we're also in a very hopeful phase. Today we can speak with a unified voice and say we will not return to war.
All parties in Berlin agreed foreign fighters and mercenaries must leave Libya, and that Libyan militias must be demobilized and disarmed. According to the UN, some 20,000 foreign fighters and mercenaries remain on the ground in Libya, a sign some analysts say shows Libya is not on the right path.
There are more mercenaries on the ground today than the last conference. There are now more weapons on the ground than the last conference. There have been more violations of the arms embargo since the last ceasefire agreement. The last ceasefire agreement insisted that the foreign forces withdraw in 90 days, and they haven't.
Here at the conference, Germany's foreign minister made a point of saying partner nations and organizations are no longer just talking about Libya, but talking with Libya. And Libya's foreign minister made a point of saying what her country is expecting here.
The people of my country pin so much hope in the second conference of the Berlin process. My people are looking forward in seeing more concrete measures which have a positive impact on the ground. It's time for actions because my people have heard enough.
It's not clear yet if the participants will deliver such concrete measures. So far, they've made promises, and in the past, some of those have not been kept. Adam Rainey, Al Jazeera, Berlin.
The Ethiopian military is accused of delaying medical access to civilians after allegedly bombing a busy market in the Tigray region, killing and injuring dozens. The 7-month-old conflict has escalated in recent days amid reports of rebel advances. While elections were held elsewhere in the country, the United States and the United Nations have called for an investigation into the attack, and the African Union has already launched its own inquiry into the human rights abuses in the Tigray region. Al Jazeera's Victoria Gadinbai reports.
Relatives of the injured wait outside a hospital for news following the bombing of a busy market in the village of Togoga in Ethiopia's Tigray region. Some of the victims were brought here to the regional capital Mekelle, 30 kilometers away, but many more wounded are believed to be trapped in the village. Health workers say soldiers blocked medical teams from reaching the scene.
A lot of people were injured, but they didn't get medical service help because of the blockage of the road by the military.
The US State Department called those reports credible and said in a statement that denying victims urgently needed medical care is heinous and absolutely unacceptable. We urge the Ethiopian authorities to ensure full and unhindered medical access to the victims immediately.
I called for accountability. I call for an investigation for what has happened. But more broadly, we have made clear our position on the issues in Tigray. We have asked for a ceasefire. We've demanded a ceasefire.
The attack happened during some of the most intense fighting since the conflict between the army and Tigray regional forces began in November. It's not been confirmed who carried out the attack, but military analysts say evidence overwhelmingly suggests the Ethiopian Air Force is responsible.
There's frankly nobody else who could have done it. The Eritrean Air Force is not operating in the area. The Tigrayans have no air force. Who else could have done it? It must have been an Ethiopian jet. I don't think that will come as any surprise to anyone.
The UN has expressed deep alarm at the reports of violence and says it's pushing for access to the region.
The situation in the area remains very, very volatile. It's important that everyone engaged in fighting do their utmost to protect civilians, to obey international humanitarian law.
This conflict is now in its 8th month. Tigray opposition parties say more than 50,000 people have been killed, while the UN says more than 350,000 have been pushed into famine. Last week, the African Union launched an independent inquiry into alleged human rights abuses in the region after widespread accounts of massacres and sexual violence against civilians. This attack may well be added to the growing list of atrocities to investigate. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
Well, before we end the news, a quick recap of our main headlines. The World Bank country director visits Gambia. Peace ambassadors Gambia updates voter registration. Sport Ministry reveals 105 million was spent on the national team. On the international scene, Ethiopia-Sudan border dispute attacks increase in Al-Fashara. Libya government hopeful mercenaries will withdraw within days. Market air raids kill dozens in Ethiopia's Tigray, says witnesses. That's all for this edition of the news. Do enjoy the rest of our wonderful programs. Join us tomorrow for more news. Thanks for watching. Do have a wonderful night. Bye for now.